I always knew my parents favored my younger brother, Sam. He was their golden child, straight A's, football captain, charming and charismatic. They'd parade him around like a trophy. I was different, quieter, more artistic. I wrote poetry, painted, and even secured second place in a national short story competition once. But they never even framed the certificate. It's just writing my dad had dismissed, not something substantial like what Sam's doing. I'd long learned not to expect their praise. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the day they decided my wedding wasn't worth attending. My fiancé, Julian, was everything I dreamed of. Kind, intelligent, patient, and someone who cherished the parts of me my parents overlooked. We met in grad school, both of us pursuing our passions without needing external validation. He was my rock through every invisible family dinner, every holiday where my gifts felt like an afterthought, and every moment I doubted my own worth. When we got engaged, I told my parents, hoping for even a hint of joy. My mom's only reply was, "Oh, that's quick. Are you sure?" My dad just mumbled something about hoping I wouldn't get too emotional on the big day. We sent out invitations and even arranged a shuttle from their town to the venue, just to eliminate travel as an excuse. I distinctly remember calling them a week before, confirming everything. Mom was vague, saying she'd check her calendar. It was the same tone she used when I invited her to my college graduation. She never came to that either. Then came the wedding day. Everything was perfect. Warm sunlight streamed through the chapel windows, music filled the air, and Julian looked at me as if I were the only person in the world. My friends were there. His family was there. My parents' chairs remained conspicuously empty. I tried not to let it spoil the moment. I focused on Julian's hand in mine as we exchanged vows. But when the reception began, and I saw Sam posting Instagram stories of a barbecue in my parents' backyard grilling, laughing, even their dog wearing a party hat, something inside me shattered. I stepped away from the reception for a moment, out into the twilight-painted sky, a gentle breeze on my face. Julian followed me. "They're the ones who lost out," he said. I nodded, unable to speak. Not yet. I didn't cry, not because I wasn't hurt, but because I had decided long ago not to grant them that power. Instead, I made a choice that night. After the guests had departed and Julian and I were alone in our small hotel suite, I looked him in the eyes and said, "They don't get to be part of our future unless they earn it." He kissed my forehead. "I'm with you, whatever you decide." Weeks passed, no apology, no call. Just silence. Then, one evening, 2 months after the wedding, I visited them, not for forgiveness, but because I needed answers. I sat across from them at the kitchen table. "Why didn't you come?" I asked. My mom sipped her tea, shrugged, and said, "We thought it was more of a low-key thing, nothing formal. Besides, Sam was in town. We haven't all been together in a while." Then my father chuckled. "Come on, don't be so sensitive. It's not like it was a royal wedding. We'll come to the next one, if there is one." He laughed, and Mom joined in. That's when I knew something deeper than disappointment had settled within me. Detachment. They hadn't just skipped my wedding. They had laughed at my pain. I promised myself that day, if they ever truly needed me, I would remember this moment. I didn't have to wait long. A full year passed. Not a single call from them, not even a birthday message. Not even when Julian was hospitalized for a week with appendicitis. Not even when my first published article appeared in a national journal. Just silence. The same silence that had echoed in the empty pews the day I said I do in front of people who genuinely loved me. It hurt deeply, but I channeled every ounce of that pain into building a life that didn't require their approval. Then, one cold January morning, a message arrived. "Mom's been diagnosed," my cousin wrote. "Ovarian cancer, stage 2. She didn't want to tell you, but I thought you should know." I didn't know how to process it. She was still my mother, but was I still her daughter? I wrestled with it for a week, then another, until one rainy Tuesday, Julian sat beside me and gently said, "If you go, go for you. Not for them, not to fix what they broke, but so you never carry the regret of wondering." So I went. The house looked smaller than I remembered, duller. The garden she once meticulously tended was dry and overgrown. I rang the bell, unsure of what I even intended to say. Dad opened the door, and for a moment he simply stared at me as if I were a ghost. "Come in," he finally mumbled, stepping aside. I saw her on the couch, thinner, her hair already falling out in patches, wrapped in a knitted blanket. She looked up, and for a second something flickered in her eyes. Not quite remorse, not quite joy, just a hint of surprise. I didn't expect. "You," she said. I nodded. "I didn't expect to come." She looked down. "You always had a strong heart. No apology, no warmth, just a passive observation. But this time, I didn't shrink. I came because I needed closure," I said, my voice calm but firm. "'Cause I need to say the things you never had the courage to." I sat across from her. "You laughed when I asked why you missed my wedding. Do you know what that felt like? I was begging for scraps of affection from people who were supposed to be the foundation of my life." She looked away, her fingers trembling slightly. "Kea, you poured everything into Sam because he was loud, flashy, charming. Kea, but you never stopped to see the daughter who stayed up all night writing, who paid for her own classes, who held herself together while you chased someone else's version of success." A tear slid down her cheek. She didn't wipe it. "I'm not angry anymore," I continued. "I'm just sad for the version of me who waited for you to notice her, and for the version of you who might never understand what you lost." Silence. When I stood to leave, she reached out and touched my hand weakly. I don't know how to fix it," she whispered. "You don't," I said gently. "You just learn to live with the consequences of what you chose, just like I did." I walked out of the house lighter than I'd ever felt. Not because anything was healed, but because I had finally stopped hoping they would be the parents I once needed. 3 months later, they reached out again. "We need help with the hospital bills," my dad wrote. "Anything you can do would mean a lot." This time, I didn't respond immediately. I sat with the message for a while, then opened my email and sent them a simple reply. "You needed me when I was a child. You chose not to show up. Now you need me again, and I've built a life without you in it. I wish you peace, but I won't. Set myself on fire to keep you warm." I pressed send. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't cruelty. It was clarity. The kind that blossoms when you finally understand that forgiveness doesn't always mean reconnection. That love, to be real, must be mutual. And that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away without bitterness, but with firm, unwavering self-respect. Years later, I would give a TED Talk. I stood on stage in front of hundreds, telling the story of a girl who bloomed without water, who planted herself in concrete and still found a way to rise, who learned that the absence of love does not mean the absence of worth. In the back row, Julian sat smiling, as he always did when I succeeded, not because of who clapped for me, but because I finally clapped for myself. And as I stepped off that stage to a standing ovation, I realized I never needed their validation. I just needed my own voice. And now the whole world was listening. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in the comments from where you are watching this video.